Aloha, y'all. It is Freya's Day, Friday the 15th of April. The astrology is as follows. The sun is at 25 degrees 30 minutes Aries. The moon is at 8 degrees 48 minutes Libra. Mercury is at 8 degrees 48 minutes Taurus. Venus is at 10 degrees 43 minutes Pisces. Mars is at now entered into Pisces. It's at 0 degrees 17 minutes. Jupiter's at 24 degrees 37 minutes Pisces. Saturn's at 23 degrees Aquarius. Uranus is at 13 degrees Aquarius. Neptune's at 24 degrees Pisces. Pluto is at 28 degrees Capricorn, and the North Node is retrograding at 22 degrees Taurus. So a bit of a shift in the energy you might have noticed, just because Mars has gone from Aquarius, where Saturn was, and having recently conjuncted it, into Pisces, a new kind of energy, watery kind of place. And with now, we got what in here? Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Neptune. Neptune, Jupiter conjunct in Pisces. Hopefully your dream life is going well. My dreams were insane last night, but they're always insane these days. So today is a Vishuddha chakra day. This is your throat chakra, right? So it's around the throat area. And the related kind of gland is your thyroid gland. Positive aspects are loyalty, trustworthiness, tactfulness, and calm. Negative aspects are unfaithfulness, untrustworthiness, self-righteousness, and cold. The mantra is Ham, H-A-M, Ham, right, like that. And then in the key of G is where you do that. Spiritual activities include chanting, silent retreats, fasting, yoga, dance, qigong, and tai chi. Essential oils are blue chamomile, gardenia, and ylang ylang. Plant is gardenia. The metal is mercury. Element is aether. Musical note, like I said, is G. Crystals are turquoise, blue agate, and aquamarine. And the soul lesson is expressing divine will. We're going to speak our truth, the truth of God. Listen for angels, voices, whatever, listen for and speak truth is kind of the point here. So let's go ahead and get some cards, shall we? All right. I'm all tingled up here. Hopefully you're doing well wherever you're watching from. I'm already not yet though, 2 months deep into my 3-month stint in Costa Rica. So time is passing by rather quickly. Let's see what wants to pop. Today we've got the 5 of Cups. Well, with Mars now entering Pisces, there's a fair amount of water energy going on. A lot in Pisces. And this might be resonating with that. So the 5 of Cups is, well, let's put it this way. If you're a Cancer, a Scorpio, or a Pisces, you're a cup naturally. It's your suit, the water signs. But you might have placements in water signs, like I have Mars and Mercury, 12th house Cancer, very watery. So it's not exclusive energy for that. And I should say that everybody has the whole zodiac and all the elements in them, so it's not like, it's kind of like the game of Mario. It's like you have specific attributes, but you're all playing in the game, and this guy breathes air, and so does this guy, and he has eyeballs, and so it's not, it's exclusive to a point, right? I guess is the best way to put it. So the 5 of Cups. Hope is not gone. I'm having to breathe this one in because I'm like, what am I going to do with my life? Hope is not gone. Allow yourself to grieve what is spilled. Give in to the grief and work through it. The 5 of Cups. I am inconsolable. The Swiss-American psychiatrist Elizabeth Kubler-Ross was a pioneer in research on near-death experiences in the process of grief. She postulated the 5 stages of grief. Denial. This can't be happening. Anger. Why me? Not fair. Bargaining. Well, if only, then I would do this. Depression. Why go on? And then acceptance. It's going to be okay. Towards the end of her own life, she said that these stages were not always a linear, predictable progression. Very Mars in Pisces, right? Where it's like it kind of floats around and does its own thing, not in a line necessarily. This opened the door for us to understand grief as a process which unfolds across time. Ultimately, the process travels across different emotional topographies that must make the full journey in order to reach the land of acceptance and integration. In the 5 of Cups, a distraught yet almost indistinguishable figure crouches by the river, watching as a hand desperately reaches out from the rushing torrent as it's swept away. 5 cups, 5 stages, must be consumed in order to move on. 3 cups hold a red inflammation. 1 stands empty with feelings of emptiness and meaninglessness. The last cup holds hope, a return to the heart. For this card to have impact, one does not have to be dealing with some catastrophe. It points to the fact that we all carry tremendous grief, ancestral grief, familial grief, cultural grief, grief of our loss of innocence. We all have, and that kind of resonates with the dream I had last night, which also took place on the coastline. Looked like more like Scotland or Norway or something, but we all live out the 5 stages of grief in numerous ways. A dream job we had worked so hard for falls through. A relationship breaks up. Children leave the home. No one passes through life untouched by grief and loss. Grief is part of the natural cycle of life. We could stop fighting against it and allow ourselves to feel what needs to be felt. Tarot offers us an opportunity to see ourselves through different eyes, to see what needs to be questioned, healed, and released. It offers us new vistas to move towards and explore. As with the 4 of Cups, we have the capacity to create a new context or viewpoint through which we can explore our pains and discomforts. We can transform them into something wondrous. Byron Katie's system, entitled The Work, offers a way of questioning and releasing the painful stories we inhabit, stepping into the open freedom that is our true, radiant, untarnished self. The 5 of Cups took me to my own deep grief. The loss of loved ones, the failures, the hard times I had put my family through with my relentless pursuit of my creative dreams. The fast-flowing river in the card has more than one meaning or possibility. Of course, we could be swept away by the river of tears, but we could also be cleansed by it too. And with Mars, Venus, Jupiter, Neptune, and Pisces, we can be cleansed right now. We can be very much reborn in the waters of hope. We can put right what we can, right? Saturn and Aquarius, let's like fix what we can, and let go of our grief. Let it be taken back into the great ocean of life. For me, this card does not point to the arrival of some form of grief, for it has already arrived and we carry it in ourselves. It's in your natural being, Aries sun. And it's like we all have this. It's an equal situation for everybody, Libra moon. It's unfortunate, but we're coming from South Node in Scorpio. Trauma, grief, separation, fear, anger, hurt, addiction. Instead, it presents a question and a powerful possibility, right? It asks you to look to your grief and that you hold on to. It invites you to complete with it, and let it go, letting life or nature take care of transmuting it back to vitas or energy. So the 5 of Cups, hope is not gone. Allow yourself to grieve what is spilled, give into the grief and work through it. And I think that we have, not only as a nation, America, but the West in general and human beings in this time space, we have a lot, it's the best of times, the worst of times. There's a whole lot that's going okay, but there's a lot we can improve upon, and we need to kind of get through the blockages, right? Move towards North Node in Taurus and really create new value, Uranus in Taurus, create new value in the world and change the world, Pluto and Capricorn, in order that we can let these tears flow. And it's okay to cry, it's okay to have the blues, it's okay to feel the feels. You don't want to get stuck there, right? There's a process, it's not even linear, but it's like, don't just be despondent and always being like, why me, why me, why me? There's a chapter for that, but you want to, Aries sun, move through it with equanimity, moon in Libra, right? So the 5 of Cups being the card of the day, and hopefully we're able to articulate and speak our truth where we have pain, and not just hide it under a bushel, so to speak. The only way to let go and process pent-up energy and grief and that kind of stuff is to express it, whether it's artistic, vocal, singing, journaling, communicating it to a friend or a partner, whatever it is. Expression is really the name of the game here. We've got the High Priestess as the clarifier card, and now that Mars has entered Pisces, Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces conjunct Venus in Pisces, this is super psychic times, right? And we're doing this as a self. Your psychic powers as an individual, Aries sun, are turning on for what? The benefit of all, North Node and Taurus, and the beautification of your own personal life as well as others, Libra moon. So we want to be tapping into the deepest visions of our inner psyches. Your dream life is probably pretty crazy right now. Like I said at the beginning, mine is, and I think that's just indicative of what happens when there's a lot of, especially Mars entering Pisces, but Neptune conjunct Jupiter, which is like every 150 years or something like that. So it's pretty intense dream energy. But the High Priestess is I offer up the mysteries of life, right? Trusting your intuition. And now with Pisces is the highest water sign, right? Water is your intuition, your feels. So, Cancer's like, oh, I thought something is giving me bad vibes. Scorpio's like, I'm doing a seance to communicate with spirits. And Pisces is more like, oh my gosh, I talk to angels and my dreams mean something, and I'm Joseph with the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat and I know what's going on. So we can really tap in now that Mars, or action and ego, is entered into Pisces. We are going to be very in tune. Venus is in Pisces. Our ability to see the beauty that transcends the song of songs, right? The poem of all poems, the haiku that ties it all together. And with Jupiter, expansion, luck, kind of more, how do you like it? Conjunct Neptune, which is like dreams, potentially delusions and illusions, but mostly like idealism and hope and fantasy. We can really rewire Saturn and Aquarius, our future North Node in Taurus, as a self, Aries sun. So, High Priestess, right? Trusting your intuition, listening to your inner guides, understanding yourself better, listening to the music of the universe. That's kind of what I'm saying here. Listening to the music of the universe and allowing creative ideas to germinate. With Neptune conjunct Jupiter, even though we might be feeling all sorts of heaviness and grief and loss and like, why the fuck am I feeling this way? We got to express that. Vishuddha Chakra Day, right? Even if you have the blues, you sing it. You don't just hide it and pent it up, or else that's going to cause cellular damage, energetic damage, relational damage, all sorts of damage. So we need to tap into the subconscious and the deeper kind of behind the scenes things and let it out. It's like a spring cleaning. I mean, shit, I hadn't even thought about that. It's April in the Northern Hemisphere, it's spring. This is an emotional spring cleaning, is what we're doing. And the way to get rid of those blues, those kind of confusions, the blockages, is to speak your truth and ask for help. We had Devin Dewar on last night on the podcast. She's an angel intuitive and Reiki master, an animal communicator. And I mean, it's all about kind of ask and you shall receive, right? You don't get because you don't ask. If you sit there going, why me? Oh my gosh, you could stay in that process for a whole long time and get bitter and resentful. But if you go, you know what, God, higher self, however you want to kind of word it for your own language, tapping into your mysterious kind of higher visions of the, unseen realm, I guess you could say. If you say, I need guidance, I need help. And if you actually open up yourself to listen, because this isn't just about speaking your truth, but this is about like unclogging your ears, right? The Vishuddha chakra. I mean, no, it's near the throat, but it's like the whole area, the whole communicative situation. If we unclog our ears, we'll get past the blockages, basically. We won't feel hopeless. So let's go ahead and get an animal card. If you guys haven't checked out the Team Rabbit Hole podcast, I suggest doing so. We're almost 300 episodes deep. And we got Lily Fangs coming on in the next week or so. We're going to have a Black Mirror episode soon, I think next week. I got to binge watch that again, or some of those episodes. We just had an Angel Intuitive. We've had Stacey DeMarco, who just did the animal card I pulled. Oh, more water, of course. Purpose, Shark. Guys, can you see? I'm talking about singing the blues. Here's a blue throat chakra. It's not that it's a water card, but the High Priestess is super intuitive. This is a water card. We've got a shark in the water, right? So Mars in Pisces in full effect. Jupiter conjunct Neptune for sharks, for sure. So 36, which is how old I am at the moment. Oh my gosh. Time keeps on ticking into the perceived future. So, shark. On page 141, purpose. You are perfectly formed to be who you are born to be, right? This is a truth you need to tell yourself. Whoops, Vishuddha chakra. This is a truth you need to tell yourself, right? I am exactly where I need to be. And don't just say it to like, you're not, in a sense, you're saying it as a magic spell to kind of convince you, but not con yourself, but to like rewire and recast spells. Like she's a gypsy, like priestess or whatever she is, fortune teller. You got to cast a spell. And the spell we usually cast is I'm not enough. I don't have what I need. It's lack. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm unhappy. Why am I blocked? Blah, blah, blah. And that's fine. There's a season for that. But then we have to start saying, I'm exactly where I need to be. These are the feelings I'm feeling. It's okay. It's going to be okay. Like I was saying in the description here. So you are perfectly formed to be who you were born to be. There is great power in keeping your focus, right? Aries sun is about that focused energy. And with Saturn and Aquarius, we really do want to fine tune the details of our reality. Of the way in which we operate. Procrastination is just another kind of fear. Heard. So keep moving forward. You are protected in a difficult task, right? So instead of saying, oh my gosh, why is this me? I'm stuck. I'm never going to get out of this situation. It's like, actually, it's just a season. Some days you're up, some days you're down. And then know that your fortune is going to change the sooner you get into your truth by speaking it and saying prayers and listening for the answers. So it's not only about mantra and saying things like I am powerful, like that's a mantra, but it's also being receptive and meditative and open and receiving from higher dimensions, the water. So procrastination is just another kind of fear, so keep moving forward, and sharks have to keep moving forward or they die. You are protected in a difficult task, and I think, you know, Eris has been conjunct the sun very recently in Aries, which is probably causing everybody a lot of discord and fucking weird, you know, static on the wire energy. So we need to be aware that, you know, this too shall pass, basically. You can do it. Mythos. The people of Polynesia had a very different relationship to sharks than most other cultures. Rather than being the object of horror and fear, sharks were honored for their power and purpose and were seen as gods, or aumakua, who could be protective. The shark god Kealeucao, I'm going to butcher these names. The shark god Okao, I'll just call him, was the cousin of a girl and the great fire goddess Pele. He was a powerful god, but quite a lonely one, right? I was like, oh, one is the loneliest number. I'm going to cry. I'm all alone in the oceans. He used to swim close to the shore and become friendly with the human people called the Ka'u. So this Oku character would watch the people swim and fish and watch the sunset with its many colors. And it was during such a time that he saw a human woman whom he felt was very beautiful, moon in Libra, right? Venus in Pisces, North Node in Taurus, beautiful femininity and relationship. He's like, I want a partnership. I'm alone. I want to be with another one to feel emotionally good, Libra moon, as a self, Aries sun. So he thought she was beautiful. He got her attention and her trust, and they both fell in love. She fell pregnant to him, and when her time came, she birthed the magic green shark. The son joined the father in the sea and would help his mother and her people whenever they went fishing or as a protection when they traveled. In Hawaiian culture, animals can be families' aumakua, a kind of protective spiritual guardian. This is a form of reincarnation of a family member after death, as they can transform into aumakua animals. And it's interesting because even Devin last night was talking about reincarnative principles and experiences she's had with a horse and grandmother and stuff like that. Some families had sharks as their aumakua, and these families would never fear sharks, knowing their ancestors were still alive but in shark form. So, the animal. Sharks are highly specialized fish that have evolved to be the apex predator in their habitats, right? They're the warrior, sun and Aries, and the highest value, North Node and Taurus, of their environment. Shark teeth are embedded in the flesh around the jaw, not within the jaw itself, and the teeth are constantly regrown as needed. Their sense of smell is incredible. They can sniff out 1 part of blood in 1,000,000 parts of seawater, which is pretty gnarly. Their sense of hearing is also acute, being able to detect sounds emanating from kilometers away. So they're listening for the truth, right? They're sniffing and listening. Their truth is very highly sensitive. Sharks have a special lateral lines down the sides of their bodies that are turned into tiny vibrations, very Saturn and Aquarius. Their structure is very ingeniously designed, I guess you could say, eccentrically designed. They are tuned into tiny vibrations of the movement in the water, which helps them recognize prey that might be slow or struggling in the water. You know, struggling in the water, 5 of Cups. They're intuitive to that, so they're tuned into what's struggling. They also have a special organ called the ampullae of Lorenzini that picks up electrical signals and makes them the most electrically sensitive of all animals, Uranus and Taurus, right? They're grounding electrical impulses in such a way that they can actually, Sun and Aries, act out on that. This is key for catching prey and in navigation, the latter because the Earth gives off electromagnetic impulses that are dependent upon the position of the planet, or their position on the planet. Some sharks are even more specialized in their evolution. For example, the Hammerhead Shark. The silhouette is unmistakable. There's nothing that looks quite like a hammerhead. The eyes of a hammerhead are placed on the edges of the head wings, which give them the extensive visual width they have, which is very handy as the hammerhead scans the sea and sandy bottom for food. Hammerhead sharks are viviparous and do not lay eggs. Pups grow inside the female shark. This is for land-based mammals and is quite unusual because they are fish. However, the mother gives birth to around 25 to 50 pups live at one time, and they are born with their eye wings folded back. Weird, but kind of cute. Saturn and Aquarius, right? It's like the structure is eccentric and weird. Other species of sharks lay eggs. They're the only ones. They're the mutant, right? That does that, basically. Saturn and Aquarius. 144, page 144. This is where the magic is, right? Sharks are magnificent creatures built for purpose. They are focused on their job as a predator, Aries Sun, the focus, Saturn and Aquarius, on their job, on their work in the world, and are exquisitely fine-tuned to do this. Every sense is supercharged, right? Uranus and Taurus. Every move is purposeful, Aries Sun. Use shark magic when you want to find your purpose and your focus again. Perhaps you're procrastinating or simply think you cannot finish a project, so call in the energy of the shark to keep your eyes on the prize. And I think that's what the 144 is. Keep your eyes on the prize, right? That's the idea here. Page 144. So, symbols. Dorsal fin out of the water. Kind of Jaws style. Shark teeth and jaws. Status. Their status ranges from critically endangered to threatened. The practice of shark finning and sharks as a bycatch of nets are huge issues. We actually do not know enough about some species of sharks to be able to guess at their numbers. So, the problem is... we're unaware of their truth necessarily because we just are incapable of intuiting their numbers because we got something stuck in our eye and we can't see them fully. Anyway, we have a purpose. We have a purpose. We don't want to sit here and say, why me? Woe is me. Oh my God, why? There's a time for that, and sometimes it can even inspire you. I'm just thinking of Braveheart. It's like William Wallace had to, ooh, there's a really pretty yellow bird right there. William Wallace had to betray oh, what's his name? No, William Wallace and Robert the Bruce. Robert the Bruce had to betray William Wallace, which caused a whole lot of grief and crying. He even cries in the movie. He's like, it hurts me, and I didn't know what I did. And he feels that way. But it leads to a new kind of clarification of his mind and intuition, dare I say, in the emotional realm. And he gets through it. He has the blues. He feels like shit. But then it moves him towards his purpose to unify and free Scotland from British rule. So don't think that your pain and suffering and worry and all this kind of stuff serves no purpose. You just don't want to overly identify with it. And with Mars and Venus and Pisces, we might be very adrift in our identification of things. We're supposed to be moving North Node Taurus towards a very finite, exact value set and reality set. I mean, it shifts in life and there's seasons for everything, but we're not supposed to be obsessively clinging on to things, especially obsessively emotionally attached South Node in Scorpio. And we're trying to release that which we're addicted to. So we've got number 64. This is the last of the hexagrams in the I Ching. The Alpha and the Omega. This is the Omega. So the whole kit and caboodle, right? Number 64. Before fulfillment. This sign can be compared to springtime, and I just said something about spring cleaning in the Northern Hemisphere. That's what we're dealing with. Springtime, to which leads to fertile summer after the tempering cold of winter. It is a time as difficult as it is beautiful, right? So there might be a lot of dreams and beautiful intuitions we're getting, but that doesn't mean it isn't without suffering and fear. But there's a purpose to this, and we have to be both thankful, vocalize and say thank you, and articulate what we want, and also be listening, Vishuddha chakra, throat chakra, listening well. So both, fear and joy exist simultaneously always. Harmony reigns, Libra moon. Life flourishes and prospers only after its completion. You need to draw upon all your strength, Aries sun, to cope with a task of this nature. It would be presumptuous to expect a sudden solution to all problems with just one roll of the dice. The ground is still shaking under you, Uranus and Taurus. You must carefully create a foundation, North Node and Taurus, enabling you to bear the load. You are Aries sun, right? You can do the work. You are heading for an all-encompassing renewal of life. Pluto and Capricorn, changing of the whole world through death and then rebirth. This departure for new shores is accompanied by anxious expectation and new hope, right? Mars and now Pisces departing for new shores, leaving that one boat for another. So we might be feeling grief. We might be feeling overwhelmed emotionally. Our dreams are probably pretty ratchet right now. I know mine are. High Priestess is the clarifying card, is that, there's a time to sing the blues. There's a time to sing Rage Against the Machine songs. There's a time, there's a time to be like, what's going on? And I said, hey, right? That's maybe how we feel right now. Just lean into it intuitively. Know it has a purpose. Know that nothing happens to you without any reason. You might feel that way sometimes, but even within the chaos, there's a larger order, quite frankly. And within that order, there's more chaos, and it just kind of goes out fractally. But this is before completion, or after completion, or whatever it said. I think it was after completion. After fulfillment, and then before fulfillment, and then, wait, what's 64? Before fulfillment. So before you could feel fulfilled, right? She's like, oh, I'm lost. I'm inconsolable. We have to tap into our intuition and know that we have a purpose and ask for it. Pray. You know, be a prayer warrior, be your own advocate. Listen to the advice of others. Don't just be like, I know what's best. I know what's good for me. Maybe that's why you're stuck in your situation. And you're going to pop from 64 back to 1. The cycle starts over. As soon as you lean into signs, symbols, synchronicities, dreams, advice, words of wisdom, prayer, song lyrics, right? All sorts of stuff serves a purpose in your energy field, your awareness field, so that you can tune into your truth, Vishuddha chakra. And then you can say, oh, I see this, 777 or whatever, and jackpot, and you can claim it. But you have to both be listening and speaking clearly the truth, and not just saying what other people want to hear, not just going with the flow in a negative South Node Scorpio way. That's kind of going with the flow in a codependent, directionless, like, oh, well, I don't know, I'm a victim kind of mode. Scorpio energy is very much like, oh my gosh, the world's against me. It's me versus the world. So you know. That's why they're the lone wolf kind of emotionally. Aquamarine. You could quantumly entangle with this if you own it, plus 5 points. But basically, we can all kind of just summon this energy by looking at it and getting involved at that awareness level, right? What it is, aquamarine is a fancy type of blue beryl. And once again, the color blue coming up, so a whole lot of blue. And it's a powerful coolant for the head and the heart. Who needs it? Those who run hot, fire signs, so Aries sun. Anybody hanging on to an unspoken burning desire, South Node of Scorpio, right? Where you're like obsessively hanging on to things that you don't need and it's causing you consternation, right? When you just kind of cool your jets and not be like, she loves me not, she loves me, it's like, just go for a walk, come back in 20 minutes and figure that out. Where to put it? Wherever you need to turn that whisper into a primal scream, Vishuddha chakra, throat chakra, right? We could shout our truths, shout, let it all out, right? Tears for fears, there's the tears. That's how we could tap into some energy fields that are beyond rational. So wherever you need to turn that whisper into a primal scream, or that's a little overly dramatic, wherever you want to speak clearly and calmly from the heart, and really that's what we want to do. We want to say, my heart is in line with my truth, and I speak it clearly, and I hear what resonates with my heart, and I know what doesn't resonate with my heart, and I discern, and I bless that which isn't part of my reality, and I let it go, and I accept that which is. See what I mean? It's like a kind of a magic trick. Yeah, right, Haley? When to use it? When you've lost your voice. Guys, can you see why I love cards? Can you see why I do this? When you've lost your voice, Vishuddha chakra, right? When you're like, oh my gosh, it's like Ariel in The Little Mermaid. When she's like, I can't sing anymore, and she gets all kind of verklempt, right? She still is a magical being with a purpose, right? She's on a mission, and it's towards the end of her mission, she gets her voice back. And she feels like, oh my gosh, Prince Eric is now with that sea witch who's Ursula in another form with my voice box. That's fucked up. Right? So she felt like her voice was taken away, her truth was taken away. So when you've lost your voice, when it's past time to let go, right? When you're just holding on saying, why can't this work out? It's like, well, something else is happening. Go towards that new thing because the other thing isn't working out. When it's past time to let go, South Node and Scorpio, release that stuff. North Node and Taurus, manifest new values and destinies. Or when you're feeling a little too en fuego for polite company, Aries sun, you're on fire and you don't know how to do shit calmly, ice yourself down with Aquamarine's cold shower vibes, right? Mars is now in Pisces. We can cool it down. It says, keep your cool, right? So keep your cool despite of emotional overwhelm. Keep your cool despite of visions and nightmares and over, connectivity. Like tap into your intuition, knowing that there's a purpose for all things, right? Keep your cool with Aquamarine. When you feel like overwhelmed emotionally, when you feel like life has got you at the end of your rope, 64th hexagram, the last of the stage, and know that every season has a purpose. We need to spring clean our energy by speaking truth and listening clearly, Vishuddha chakra, and using our intuitions. Now that Mars and Venus are in Pisces, Jupiter is conjunct Neptune in Pisces, we could really release a lot of old ancestral karma, personal karma, fears, attachments, addictions, South Node and Scorpio. Like the positive part of that is like you're releasing those things. It's time to let those go. So try to keep your cool while you're doing that. Know that this too shall pass, even though you might feel overwhelmed. Try to find some magic in the situation. It's all part of a grander design, and everything comes full circle. 64 hexagrams. So it's just another it's just one of them days. Mother said there would be days like this, right? Kind of thing. And just kind of speak your truth, sing it, hum, and then listen. It's like ask and you shall receive, but like knock and the door will be answered. But you have to like wait for the response too from life a little. but engaging it is kind of the point. So, like I said at the beginning, check out the Team Rabbit Hole podcast. We just had Devin Dewar on. She's great. We're almost near 300 episodes. On 420, we're going to have Lily Fangs. She's really cool. She's like a poet, hip-hop type artist who's going to be doing a festival with Leo King. So hopefully, you know, we're all in this thing together, kind of walking each other home. But check out the podcast, TEAMrabbithole.com. www.teamrabbithole.com. I don't know if it works or why it doesn't work as well when you don't do the www. Je ne sais pas, but life is such. I won't cry about it. Leave a tip if you felt like this helped you. And Holler for readings, $33 for an hour of cards, $88 for 3 hours of astrology, $111 for both, which is quite a good value, North Node and Taurus. I've only got 5 stars, so you know you're going to get a good reading. And yeah, basically enjoy your Freya's day. It's a beautiful day to North Node and Taurus tap into the beauty, but sometimes it's beautiful to cry, like a spring cleaning emotionally. It's beautiful to shout out and say, I don't know what's going on. But then you make room for the silence, right? You shout it out, you let it out, and then you listen. You speak where you're at, and then you listen by keeping your cool and knowing that there's a purpose behind everything. The cycle resets. So, you know, you start here, you go here, or you start here, you go here, you go here. It's a sine wave. It never stops. So, hopefully that helps. I will catch y'all on the flip side. Enjoy your Freya's day. Adios.